Welcome back. We're on number 17 this week, and we are talking about the trombone. The trombone, as we know it today, is based on an earlier instrument from the Renaissance called the sackbut. Go ahead, laugh, it's funny. Sackbut. Only one T, though. The first time a trombone was used in a symphony orchestra was none other than Beethoven. He was the first one in the Fifth Symphony to use the trombone in a large ensemble. Slide positions. Slide positions for trombone are much like the valve combinations on an instrument with pistons or rotor valves. There are 7 slide positions, and within each one of those positions you can play a number of different notes. This way you can play all the chromatic notes from low to high. This predates the 19th century edition of valves to brass instruments by quite a while, so trombones have always been, a step ahead. You must be careful, however, of the 8th position. That's where the slide falls off. There are quite a number of things you can put in the bell of a trombone. We have a whole stack of them over at the side of the room by where the percussion is stored. We call those mutes. And you have the basic ones are a straight mute, cup mute, harmon mute, plunger mute. There are quite a few more, like a bucket mute and a solo tone mute and a pixie mute. There are many choices at many different price points too, if you're considering purchasing your own. What they really do is alter the sound. Not so much about volume, but it's about getting a different tone quality out of the instrument. The person we're going to listen to today, his name is Joseph Alessi, Joe Alessi. He is the principal trombone player for the New York Philharmonic. That's a tough job to get. He also teaches trombone and trombone choir at the Juilliard School in New York City. And the Juilliard School is for about the top 1% of the top 1% of players. Typically, you don't get to apply there. You're asked to go. They invite you to go study there. Their goal is not to produce orchestral players. Their goal is to produce the people that stand out in front of the orchestra and play solos. A lot of times, if you are working with an orchestral score, they're written in different languages. Italian is pretty common, and German often shows up. So you have to know all the different terms for instruments in different languages. In English, it's trombone. In Italian, it's trombono. And in German, it is Posaune. P-O-S-A-U-N-E. So if you ever see that on a piece of music, P-O-S, that doesn't mean position, it means Posaune, and that means trombones. Okay, the piece we're going to listen to today is a folk tune called The Bluebells of Scotland. And the version that we're going to listen to was written by probably the most famous virtuoso trombone player of all time, who wrote this in 1899 to play with the John Philip Sousa Band. His name was Arthur Pryor, and he went on to do, he had his own band, much like Herbert L. Clark, the cornet player we looked at last week. But Arthur Pryor is, to this day, still known as the top person. The tune itself, Bluebells of Scotland, was about 100 years old. It was written by an English actress named Dora Jordan, and it was first published in the year 1801. Most modern trombones, like the one you're going to hear today and see all the pictures of, they're made out of brass, and brass is a metal that is easily malleable. You can change it, hammer or with heat, and that's how they're able to make all these, perfect bends. They usually fill the tube with some kind of material that they can melt out later, like lead, or sometimes they use pitch, or there's a way they can do it with frozen material as well. But that way it gives you the nice shapes. And brass has just stood the test of time. They've tried to make brass instruments out of other things, but they always end up coming back to brass. So let's take a little listen here to Joseph Alessi. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what a trombone should sound like. Hope you had a good time listening to that one. Next week, we will look at the other end of the spectrum with a tiny little instrument called the piccolo trumpet. See you later. Bye.